Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 73715. Highway 26, or US Highway 26 here in Rhododendron. We're located at the, there's 3 cabins here we're going to scope today. The one we're currently behind is the address number I just read off. I'll say all the address numbers as we go. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We currently have water running. Again, it's a 4-inch ABS cleanout at the rear of the home. We're going to zero the camera out right here, and we do have water running. We're going to run this out to the septic tank. We'll let the line drain out completely, and then we'll take a good look at everything on the way back in. And at the end, we'll also reverse direction and scope back into the home as far as we can go. Alright, this looks like our tank connection. I'm going to go locate to verify that. Alright, we are indeed at the tank connection here. I was able to open up the cap right by the tank and see the camera head. We're going to let it drain out now. Okay, line's all drained out. At this point here, we're going to go ahead and reel the camera in. Okay, so we do have a belly here that's just about exactly 5 feet in length. It stretches from here at about 10 feet out to 15 feet at the tank connection. And we've got over an inch of water here. It's approaching actually 2 inches of standing water in the middle of the belly there. So I will recommend a spot repair to correct that. Okay, we've got the belly mapped out here. A big white X marks the start of the repair, and there's white dots leading right up to the tank connection. Actually, right up to the, you'll see some 3034 PVC pipe popping out of the ground. That's right where the belly ends as it dumps into the tank there. Recommend a spot repair to correct that to improve flow. Typically, I start to see toilet paper collect in lines once you have at least 5 feet of pipe, which this has with at least an inch of water, and this one's got closer to 2 inches. We've got a little bit of standing water right off the bat here, but it's very, very minimal. It's about a 1/16 of an inch, nothing concerning. And we're now going back towards the home here. Looks like it's going into the original cast iron. And that's the end of the line there. We're starting out the clean out cap inside. Looks like, because of that way that clean out's set up there, it's letting some stuff divert back into the clean out area, but there's no active drains that actually flow through that spot there, so that is not going to affect the flow. Now, aside from the belly, the rest of the line we just scoped here is in good shape, drains properly, and is functioning properly at this time. Would recommend getting that belly corrected so it doesn't cause a blockage at some point. Okay, we're over at unit 27995 now. We're on the left side of the home, kind of underneath this little pop out here. It's like a shed type deal on the left side of the house. So we're going into it goes right into 4-inch cast iron pipe here. We're going to zero out right here. We do have water running. Here we go. And transitions over to 4-inch ABS plastic here, 9 feet. With some more standing water here, we'll take a look at that on the way out. With the sink running there, it wasn't quite up to even an inch of standing water, so that may drain out fairly well. We'll see. Now it looks like some other lines connecting in right here. That may be some type of clean out access as well. Could be a lot of different things. Okay, we are now at the tank here at 52 feet. We're going to let the line drain out here for a moment before reeling back in. And we do have standing water towards the end of the line here, once again, like the other one did. Alright, so this belly here at the end, this is the exact same belly we've already mapped out. The line, these two units, the first one we scoped and this rear unit are Y connected together, and that was that Y connection we saw just a moment ago, it looks like. And yeah, we're exactly 5 feet in length there, so it does appear that that's the Y connection. I'm going to go run some water from that unit just so we can verify that real quick. But it's in the exact same location as I just located that other belly there. Okay, we just turned water on in that front unit that we originally started with. I just want to see if this ties in here or not. And it's possible this Y connection here might actually be for the unit to the far right of the property. We're going to give it just a minute longer here, see if it comes down the line or not. Okay, so we didn't have any water come through from that unit, so I just turned the water on over in the other unit. While I'm doing that, I'm going to locate, we're waiting for that water to show up. This might actually be a different belly here. They're just so stinking close to each other, they look the same. This belly is very similar in that we have at least 2 inches of water here. This one actually looks a little bit more significant than the other belly if we scoped or mapped out. And yeah, this is definitely different because I don't believe the other one had a turn right here at the very end. So anyway, we'll map this out. I recommend repairing it as well. Okay, so this one here, and this is definitely a different depth. We're at 5 feet 5 inches deep here versus the other one was at 3 feet. So it looks like there's a column that goes down into the ground that they kind of tie in at different levels. Now this one too is basically, it looks like just about exactly 5 feet. It's very similar to the other one. Starts here at 48. This one's just shy of 5 feet, it looks like. About a 4-foot section. But with that amount of water in there, there's 2.5, possibly even as much as 3 inches of standing water there. The more water you have, the shorter the section of pipe needs to be before it's actually affecting flow here. So I am going to recommend a repair on this one. We're dang near 3 inches of standing water. Alright, so the depth I'm getting here is kind of interesting. We're about 3 feet 7 inches deep, but almost 5.5 feet deep at the end of the belly. So use some caution when digging there. I'm not exactly sure why there's that big of a depth discrepancy. I've located that multiple times now, and I'm getting the same thing. And so yeah, this right here, this Y connection is picking up the water from, we haven't scoped it yet, the unit 73721. So This house and 73721 are interconnected, and then the front left unit, which is the first one we started with, 73715, has it looks like its very own line. With almost identical issues going on. Again, I recommend a repair there to correct that belly. And you can see, based on how the pipes are oriented, the pipes are coming at 2 different angles into there, so they're definitely separate bellies, but in basically the exact same location, which is kind of nice for spot repairing. You just about only have to dig 1 hole to fix 2 different lines' bellies. This is that spot I was mentioning on the way out here. All said and done, I'll get right in the middle of this and let the water kind of settle in place. The water level is sitting below the camera lens. It's similar to the kind of rinky-dink belly we saw in the first house. At that amount of water there, I mean, you got to be flushing pairs of socks down the line in order to get something clogged up there. Something's going to clog in that spot is going to clog pretty much anywhere else in the line. It's just not enough flow to really affect things. The only thing that will kind of collect there slowly but surely would be like cooking oil and grease and stuff going down the kitchen sink. Definitely want to, I mean, the only thing that should be going down a line like this on septic is folded toilet paper down the toilet. You really need to avoid pretty much everything else from going down the line. As long as you're doing that, that spot there is not going to cause you any hassle at all. That belly out at the end, though, I would recommend repairing, though. It's about 4.5 feet long, has almost, I would say, 2.5 to 3 inches. It's definitely at least 2 inches of water there, which is plenty to catch debris coming down the line, especially if you're flushing big wads of toilet paper and stuff like that. And we're going to move over to the last unit here. Alright, we're now at the front right unit, 73721, going through the drain in the back here. It stubs right into a cast iron. It's either a clean out or an old stack that's been converted over for a drain. It's going to go immediately from this smaller 1.5 inch pipe over to the cast iron pipe immediately here. Alright, we are now in. It's picking up some other Y connection here. There's probably 2 different branches that come out from this house, obviously. And it just transitioned over to ABS plastic there just a second ago. Well, it looks like it's probably picking up a drain from somewhere else. Unfortunately, I won't be able to scope any of that. There's just no access to it. But on slab foundation like this, it's a very, very common thing to do everything on the outside of the house, just so you're not saw cutting up the slab. Now, on this right here, it's probably going to be about as far as we can even get. That lip there on that joint is very, very offset. Very high risk for a blockage to occur here. This is, an 1.5 inches almost offset there, and the camera just will not pop over the top of that. I'll shove on it here just a second longer, but yeah, that's going to be as far as we get there, unfortunately. Now here at 25 feet, we'll get this marked for repair. That's about 1.5 inches offset there. And it's also created a belly. What's probably happened here is the line is settled. That's why we've got standing water here as well. That'll be a belly to correct as well, it looks like. So I'll map all that standing water as well as this joint here out. Okay, got this marked here with a white X. We're about 10 feet or so from the tank, or at least where that Y connection is at. Got a belly here with about it's going to be similar to the offset, about 1.5 inches of standing water. And every belly here today seems to be about the exact same length. This one starts here at about 22 feet, extends out to 25 feet. We've got an offset as well as a belly here. It's likely because that joint disconnected, or it just was not compacted soil at all, and the whole thing just dropped out of the way. Or you could have had something really heavy, like a septic tank or a septic truck, something like that, drove over the top of the line. It's only about 2 feet 8 inches deep at 25 feet. So if you drive heavy equipment over the top of this, you're gonna smash this thing. That's probably what happened. That's a pretty big disconnect there for just settling to have occurred. But just be wary of that. You want to make sure you kind of know where these lines are at. You're not putting any heavy equipment or anything like that, or if the septic pump guy comes, you want to make sure you're guiding them in a way that they're not running over the top of anything. Alright, I've got this mapped out here with an exit each end. Unfortunately, we can't see the rest of the line beyond that 25-foot point, so when a repair is being done, I would highly recommend putting a camera down the line through the repair site so you can make sure that last roughly 10 feet before it Y connects onto the other line is in good shape and there's nothing going on there as well. Especially if that was caused by something running over the top of it, there's a decent chance you could have more issues beyond that if a vehicle kind of drove over the top of the whole line in that area. So we're going to go ahead and reel the camera on out of the line here. You know what? Looks like we might actually have a clean out right about here at 8 feet out. Well, I've tried probing around here. I'm not hitting anything obvious. It might be buried quite deep. But it looks like we've got a tie-in at the top there. And it's possible it's something else other than a clean out. That certainly looks like one. I'll show where I'm locating that here in just a second when I reel the camera out of the line. Alright. Anyway, aside from that offset in the belly there, the rest of the pipe we just scoped there is in good shape. Unfortunately, we stopped about 10, maybe as much as 15 feet short of the Y connection. I highly recommend getting that repaired. That one, if it hasn't caused a backup yet, it would be amazing. I can promise you will at some point. That's with the standing water and an 1.5 inch lip there at the offset. That's a spot where anything on earth can hang up. So right here, pretty much straight out from this rear left corner, about where that downspout is pointing to, there's a little rock here, and I'll put a paint mark on the ground. It looks like that's where that tie-in is, where we might have a clean out. So anyway, recommend all the repairs. There's the 2 bellies from the front left unit and the rear unit, both of which are almost in the exact same area, and they're almost identical bellies. We've got about 5 feet of pipe with each one. One of them, excuse me, one of them has 2 inches of standing water, and the other has about 2.5 to 3 inches of standing water, which is plenty of standing water there to cause debris buildup and a blockage and all that fun stuff. And then on this unit here, all 3 of them have repairs to do. And at 22 to 25 feet out, we have the belly as well as the offset, all of which are marked with paint. One of those locates I got from the rear unit was putting the line at almost 5.5 feet deep up at the septic tank connection. But when I reeled back a few feet from there, we were at about 3 feet deep. So use caution when digging there. It would make sense for one of them to be deeper because it looks like they're all tying into a column. So anyway, just use some caution when digging. Those are all mapped out though with paint. I highly recommend getting them re-scoped after the repair is done. A lot of these issues happen at the time of installation. So you want to make sure that the repair is done properly